Hello. Okay, can you hear me? Can you hear me? Sorry about that. Sorry. Can you hear me now? Now we got 7 views. I'm sorry. I apologize. I clicked it off by accident. I clicked it off by accident. Okay, sorry. No. I turned it off by accident. It's not your fault. It's my fault. It's my fault. Thank you for being here, everybody. Thank you for coming back in. I appreciate you coming back in. I mean, I switched it off by accident. Because my son came in and he was like standing at he just came in and I said, "How are you doing?" And he refused to speak. I don't know. He's behind the thing. He just didn't want. I don't know what happened to him. Maybe something bad happened to him. Who knows? I mean, it's not particularly nice, but it is what it is. Okay, so we're back on track. Talipa, thank you for saying that. Yeah, we'll get him back on. I mean, he wouldn't even say hello to me. He walks in the door. I'm his landlord. He should be nicer to me. He should be nicer to me. You have to like twice. Everybody's got to like this thing twice. You're right. You got to like twice. Who said that? 6 badges. Yes, we got to. That's all I'm at. Rocket League is here. That's all I'm asking you to do is like the thing. Like the thing. Let me see. Did I say? I'm gonna have to put it back on here. I'm gonna have to put it back on Twitter. I logged out by accident. And now I gotta figure out how to get back on here. Like the thing. Press the like button. Do me a favor. It's not gonna kill you. It's not gonna kill you. And it's wrong that I have to constantly be begging. I'm such a loser. I'm begging you people. I shouldn't be begging you. They killed two soldiers, 2 National Guard soldiers. You know, this is how civil war starts. Actual civil war starts this way. Sorry, I'm not promoting it. I'm against it. Don't panic, Lewis. You're here. The notification went out again. Okay, good. Okay, good. So there we go. We got 21 people watching. So that's really good. Rocket League is here. What's the topic? I don't know what we were talking about. I disconnected. My number 2 son, he was my number 1 son, 2 son, came in and I said, how are you doing? What are you doing? And he refused to say anything. Maybe he's mad at me because he wants to eat something in the kitchen. And he can't eat in the studio here, and maybe he doesn't want to sit here. So we'll have to wait. We'll have to wait 30 minutes before the stream is over. That's what it is. And now I'm all upset. I'm all upset because it's like I feel like, I don't live in a big enough house. I got 2 kids here. I've got 2 kids here. And they're acting like not at times like I'm supposed to be doing this. They're 24 and 22 years old. And maybe they can't afford to live in London. That's just the way the world works. I can't live in my hometown. I grew up in an area called Great Neck, Long Island, New York. Great Neck. Google house prices in Great Neck. How much does it cost to buy a house? A 3-bedroom house in Great Neck. Old house in Great Neck. How much does it cost? I can't afford it. This is what happens. Yet people complain. Why can't I move into a house? So then the council builds on parks. So the council builds on parks. The National Guardsmen were apparently shot or something. Yes, they were. They're American soldiers in Washington. It's because, yes, it's awful. They're young kids. They're not even soldiers. They're just like weekend warriors, these people, these National Guards. They do it for like a couple of extra pounds. It's like a second job. They don't deserve that. Now I live in a tent in the woods. Yeah. This is what happens. You move. People move. You have to move. The area that you live in, which was once a dump because maybe you were living there, is not a dump anymore. It's now one of them. It was always an expensive place. Or it's also like what happened with the British government. They make it impossible for people to own homes by mass importation of people. Okay? $1.4 million on average for a house in Great Neck, Long Island. Yes, thank you, Alex. I do appreciate you checking that out. I'm glad I didn't have to do that. $1.4 million. So that's about £1 million. And it's similar here in Nunhead. A house with 3 bedrooms is about £1 million. It used to be nothing. But when you let in millions of people into the country, millions of people into, what about Trump being in Florida? That's how much it costs. About the National Guards being shot, Joodles. I break some news and nobody thanked me. Well, thank you very much. Thank you. He's ordered flooding of DC with extra guards. This is how a civil war starts. Like this. This is how a civil war starts. You think you're going to have more military people doing it, and like what they say about Donald Trump is like just so wrong. But he's on a different side. There are two sides. Are they saying? I heard that they died. Joodle says, okay, let's. Did they die? Are they seriously wounded? I hope your volume isn't too high and disturbing fellow tent dwellers. You're speaking to William. Yeah. House prices here are insane. They have to come down in price. Well, how can they come down in price when people are coming into the country and they're getting child benefits, which is, I think is it £20 a week or £20 a month or what is it? It's so much money. Bizarre government announced death, then retracted it. It's bizarre that the government announced it death and then retracted it. It's like what happens with these situations. You don't know who's dead and whatever. You don't know. I don't know. The rabbits are fine. The birds are quiet. Let's pump it up. East Hampton expensive. Yes, East Hampton is very expensive. Is really expensive. It's probably more than Great Neck probably, but you can only be there for like 3 or 4 months out of the year, and then people move somewhere else. It's similar to being in Edinburgh than the Edinburgh Festival. David B says, "Can we tax hours on satellites in space so the Earth can live with less taxes on Earth?" Okay, I don't understand how that would work. Tulipa, maybe they were resuscitated or misidentified. Yeah, mistakes can happen, Gnome. Gnome Hunter says that. Rocket League, you spelled, what is that league? You spelled league wrong. You spelled league wrong. Can you change that so you don't, it's not Lou, maybe that's another word. Rocket League. Oh, the governor says that. Okay, well, usually the governor should know. Remember how America works. It's very layered. You got the city, you got the state, you got the federal government. Sometimes in the city, there are areas of the city. Like in New York has 5 boroughs, so you can be the president of the borough of Brooklyn, or they call it Kings County, Borough of Brooklyn, New York City, New York State, the president. That's the way it works. It's in Virginia. I thought, what was he doing there? I thought it's in D.C. Well, I thought it was in District of Columbia. D.C. is not part of it, though. No, D.C. is separate from Virginia. It used to be part of Virginia, and then they get where the Pentagon is. That it was like a square that they gave to the independent thing. I shall upgrade to a cave very soon and do some paintings to tell the story of living in a tent. I guess we all might have to be living in tents someday. Who knows? How old are you, William, again? You're 6'4" tall. It's got to be a big tent. But MC Scott says, way to go. And I agree with you. Way to go. 6'4" tall. I mean, let's hope there's no civil war. Let's hope it. Let's hope. We don't know what's going to happen. Something really. You're 51, so you're not a spring chicken, but you're not fat. That's the most important thing. Don't be fat. Don't be fat. I'm telling everybody, don't be fat. I mean, I'm not a drinker, but I know a lot of you people drink. DC is part of New York. No, it's not. If you check up the records, it will tell you that DC is next to the Bronx. Russ, I don't know. Is that a joke? Is that a joke? I said it above, Lewis. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. Yeah. It appears that way. People get it in their head. They think, oh, it's going to solve the problem and it's going to be fun. This is what they say. I don't think it's going to be fun. Civil War, I don't know. I mean, American Civil War was horrific. And who won in the American Civil War? The globalists won, basically. The industrialists in the North. They prevented the South from having free workers, which is perhaps right. It's right, I guess. I'm against slavery. Generally, I think it's a horrible thing. But people are horrible. Remember, that's only about 162 years ago. 160 years ago is when slavery ended. I'm old enough to remember people being alive who were slaves, who were born a slave. Slavery, okay. And people still carry that. All the black people are really still angry about it. What is 1886? That's not when slavery ended. Not part of the U.S. Virginia governor announced death strangely, then retracted it. Why Virginia in the first place? Okay, Vatnai, that's really good. A big round of applause for Vatnai for not having booze. That's amazing. That is amazing. General Custer won the Civil War. I think he was just like a nothing in the Civil War. I don't know if he was. He didn't win the Civil War. Okay? But the point is the Civil War ended in 1865. Not 18. I don't know what happened in 1886. Well, I'm not a fan of the Confederate ideology per se, but they look really cool. Well, like their uniforms were gray. It was like kind of. I remember when I was a kid, we used to play with Civil War pieces. I don't think we used to play where there was Civil War and Union and with Army men and stuff like that. I can't imagine a kid playing that. I can't imagine kids playing war games like we used to play. I'm going to have to invest in a wheelchair for my mom if I'm not going to get more fat. What do you mean by that? I'm going to have to invest in a wheelchair for my mom, if I'm not going to get more fat. What do you mean by that? I don't understand. He didn't lead the war. 1886, where they were Indian fights, where we were taking over different parts of America. There wasn't the Civil War back then, Russ. Okay? Civil War ended in 1865. It started in 1861 or 60, whatever, and it ended. Slaves weren't given up for anything other than the North had mechanized things and machines, don't need sleep or food. Yeah, they had more. It was more manufacturing, and that's one of the reasons why the South lost. But the South had a right to leave, but and the North said, no, you're not leaving. So they broke a promise. Slaves weren't given. Okay. Northern U.S. troops, uniforms based on the French ones in Crimea under Napoleon. Okay, I did not know that. I mean, I like that. They were blue. They were dark blue. They were good looking. I read that General Custer was to become president if he lost, but he lost. Is that true? Could have been. He was quite a popular leader at the time, from what I know, Russ. Possibly, yeah. We used to play cowboys and Indians. Not sure kids do that anymore. Darklands, yeah, that's true. We played cowboys and Indians. We used to play soldiers, World War II and all that stuff, war stuff. Joe, what Vatanai says, I've lost the desire for drink. It makes up for the odd carb while eating. Yeah, you know what it is? If, let's say you have a drinking problem and you're on a high carb diet and you're fat, you got to give up one of those things. That's what I think you should do. Give up one thing. Give up one thing. MC Scott, we're learning. I mean, I don't even know that much about the Civil War. I haven't thought about the Civil War in so many years. It's been blotted out. But I know that there were like camps where they kept Confederate soldiers, and that they died and American soldiers too, and they died. It was way more deaths in the American Civil War than it was in World War II for Americans. It's not Cluster, Custer, not Cluster, Custer. I used to play with plastic green soldiers as I did. I remember the bag used to come in a bag, and I remember going and buying them and just toys. I remember toys. Oh, they're making us think about toys. Speaking of civil wars and generals, I think it's time to give attention to General Monk. Who is General Monk? Monck. I never heard of him. General Monk. Important backdrop to us Civil War expansion of us territory and big shifts in population base, with beginnings of Central and Eastern migrants. Important backdrop to us, to us, to U.S. Civil War expansion of U.S. U.S. not us, of U.S. Civil War expansion of big shifts in population base with beginnings of Central and Eastern European migrants, and they maybe, and the migrants didn't want to move down south or whatever, or not because of maybe because they didn't want to move. They could sense there was such an animus feeling amongst the people there. I know they pretended they were all happy. Yeah, it's true. I mean, there was always been massive immigration, but and the country was getting bigger, and it was going all over, and it was called Manifest Destiny to take over America from one place to another. I don't know about the Eastern European. My family came in half of it came in the 1880s, and the other half came in the 1916 or something. A surprise. No, not 1916. Like 1900. A surprisingly large number. Okay. According to Vatnai, a surprisingly large number of people died in the American Civil War. Am I right in thinking there is still some hatred between the North and the South? No. I will say at this point, no. When I was growing up, kind of, yes. I will say that. I will also say, but today it's the Trump's MAGA supporters versus the globalist leftist supporters. I think at the end of the day, so many Americans have moved down south to get out of New York, and a lot of people who are hostile to the North moved to the North. And so I don't think there's as much hostility. There can't be any more hostility because there's a bigger war going on right now that's happening. Is that true, or you're making a joke, Russ? Because you make jokes every single. I can't tell if it's a joke. I think Trump is deteriorating faster than Biden now. He's also become senile, in my opinion. Do you think he's still with it, David? Yes, no. Yes and no. I think he's losing it. I don't think he's got more than 2 years to live. Basically, I don't think you can't live past. You can live. He has been eating McDonald's fries and McDonald's burgers with the buns and drinking Coke before it was Diet Coke for years and years. And it's coming back to him. That's a good point. Bev Turner is now saying West Virginia governor has said the two lads died. That's not the case. Okay. The troops are based in West Virginia. They are West Virginian boys. Okay, so each state has its own state militia, and that the president can use the state militia. And that's why the West Virginia, I should have known that. I knew that, but wasn't thinking. Is the West Virginia governor is in charge of the West Virginia militia. And that's why he spoke about it. Those are his troops. He's the commander of those troops, unless the president takes over. Okay. Lucy Van Pelt. The Confederates were the equivalent of shitlibs who don't want to give up their cheap foreign labor and pay their fellow Americans more to do their jobs. That, I would say that I'm afraid to say I don't even know what I think. That's why this is the new Lewis. I don't even know what I think. No, I think what it is yes. It's not yes. They had a way of life, their old school way of life. It's not that they're shit libs. The liberals want change. They want the country to change. They want the workforce to change. They want change. The people in the Confederate States didn't want change. They didn't want change, number one. And the second thing is the white people who lived there didn't want slavery to end because it meant a lot of people being free in their country. So it was the poor people also. I mean, it's an interesting point. I'll have to think about it, maybe make more of a case. What was your favorite Civil War? I mean, isn't every war a civil war when you realize that people are just so similar to each other? And you think, well, I mean, who knows what is this? It's like the idea that there's a country that has borders and then people are fighting. I don't know. That's a good question. Anybody have any other civil wars? What makes sense? I don't know if they weren't shit lips. They were inherently conservative. So you could say they're more like the MAGA people. MAGA people we want to live in the 50s and the 60s when things were amazing, when people respected America. So I don't know what to say. No, you probably think they look bad because Americans put on a lot of makeup to go on TV. A lot of makeup. Americans wear better makeup than they do here. Than they do here. Industrialized farming machinery came to be able to do the work of 1,000 slaves in a fraction of time. It just came down to profit. Yes, that's true. That is true. And the poor people in the South said, if we release 2 million or 3 million, however many slaves there were, they're going to come after us and we're going to have a hard time making a living. So they wanted things just to stay the same. Civil war is a battle for the central identity of a country. Okay, pick another civil war. They didn't have an issue with people being free. The issue was those people being free. Hello? Hello? Hold on a second. Hello? 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 Who's banging? Is that you banging? Is that you? What are you doing? All right, I'm back. Thanks a lot. I don't know. Okay. They had an issue with those people being free. They believe their sole existence, Noam Hunter says, was serving them and making money for them. That's why it was so big. Most people who lived in the South didn't own slaves. They were big. The slaves were only on really big plantations. Okay, really big plantations. Um, so it wasn't. I mean, they didn't really like black people at that time. There was a huge division. You know what I mean? Black people were working in plantations, but the average person, the average farmer, it was not industrial. And I think the average person just wanted things to stay the same. The so this is Tulipa says the Russian Civil War. Well, I didn't like that because it turned out badly. Spanish Civil War, maybe the Spanish Civil War, possibly. I mean, I'm reviewing everything now. I was totally on the side of the left in the Spanish Civil War, of the Republicans. But I'm not so sure now. I'm not so sure. In the UK, there was the War of the Roses, and of course the English Civil War between the Roundhead and the Cavaliers. Well, I like that Civil War because, but then they lost the Civil War. Cromwell won the Civil War, and then they lost by like they were too dogmatic. Economic historians would drool at the thought, but I think it's more diluted. They wouldn't be able to operate most of the machinery for quite a while. Um, I mean, I've got to think about this. No, her makeup. We're talking about Bev's makeup, making her look older, like she didn't take her artist with her or something, especially in the daytime. Okay, I haven't watched it. I haven't watched it. I'm waiting to be called. I'm not going to be called. I'm not going to be called. Talipa, big names, respectable choices. Talipa, importing labor from halfway across the world sounds pretty globalist to me. Um, Initially it was globalist, but then they stopped being able to import people. The British basically banned you. You guys did an amazing job to do that. I mean, it was importing people, but remember, industrialization was the new globalism, was the globalism back then, Lucy. Okay, it sounds globalist, but by the time the Civil War happened, the people who were living in America were Americans. The black people had been living there for at least 40 years. They'd been living there like forever. And they were learning how to read. They were reading. They knew what was going on in the world. So it was against the independent state of the South, of the states. So it's very similar to here. It's very similar to here. At first, it required more slaves to work the machinery, but that soon changed, and much fewer were needed. The English Civil War, that's what Kermit says. At first, it required more slaves to work the machinery. I don't even know if they had much machinery back then. When was the cotton gin invented? Can we check to see when the cotton gin was invented? I'm checking to see when was the cotton gin. Can everybody like the stream? Can you like the stream, people? Okay. Okay. Can we like the stream? The cotton gin. When was the cotton gin invented? When was the cotton? Maybe I should just, if I have a question, I should ask you guys. 1793 by Eli Whitney and patented. The machine was a major innovation because it dramatically sped up the process. Okay, I thought it was invented afterwards. That's amazing. That's amazing. It was immediate success. I mean, we'll have to check this out. This is what happens. We're asking too many questions. Okay, everybody. What do you mean by being it more? English Civil War, really, three forces: liberal parliament, conservative king, and radical new model army. Well, I think I don't know. Was the parliament liberal and the king was? I don't know. I don't know much about it. I saw a TV program. It's too dark, Kermit. What is too dark? I mean, maybe. Okay, so this was interesting. We're discussing Civil War, the American Civil War, and civil wars. I think it was very interesting. Okay, I want to thank everybody for watching this thing. This has been good. This has been good. We didn't. This has been good. I quite like Fairfax. Yeah, well, Fairfax was the highest ranking British person who moved to America. They didn't want to move to America. It's like, why would you move to America? You want to be in London where everything was happening. People were moving to London. How come states with high black population in the Southeast almost always vote GOP? That's not true. That's not true. I mean, that's not true. Is that true? I don't think that that's true. In the Southeast, you mean like, I mean, Georgia voted Democrat and some of the states and Virginia. Black people historically, well, actually, the Republicans are the ones who freed the slaves, but then the Democrats took over, and the Democrats were a conservative, anti pro slavery party. So it's a bit mixed here. Anyway, thank you for coming back, everybody. I really do appreciate it. Can you do me a favor? Can you can you like the stream? Can you subscribe to the stream if you haven't, so you can be notified like this? Okay, Alabama, Tennessee, because of a low black turnout, and I think they were always. There was always more white people than black people down there. There was a very high degree. I mean, and they weren't whatever. But then the black people have begun to realize that the black people who are living there, the Democrats don't care about them, and we'll have a prayer. The Democrats, we'll have to pray that there won't be a civil war. Okay. We'll have to do that. Behave yourself, Russ. Okay, so I want to thank you guys for being here. I'd like to remind you to go on the Discord. William Wallace, are you on Discord? Join Discord. There's lots of people there saying horrible things and lovely things. There's can you like the stream? If you everybody like the stream automatically. Every single show you have to like the stream, because then maybe more people you will say, hey, watch this thing. Basically, Alex, thank you for coming. Maybe you could make a contribution if you haven't. If you do make a contribution, tell me. I've got to go through it and see who's made contributions. So many people have. Most of you have, which I appreciate. Tulipa, thank you. Like, subscribe, go to PayPal, Patreon, paypal.me/Lewis Schaffer. .me/Lewis Schaffer. Thank you very much for being here. Joodles, thank you. Lucy, thank you very much for being here. 6 badges. I think the Civil War thing was quite interesting. Vatanai, Joe, thank you. Thank you. Alex, Daz is here. Thank you very much. So thank you very much for coming. Thank you for coming. to this stream. Sorry about the problem. I pressed the wrong button. Any other questions? Have I forgot? Del Boy comes in a bit late. What are your thoughts about Reese's budget? We discussed that. We're run out of time. We got 2 minutes left of this thing. 2 minutes left. Del Boy Trotter, thank you for coming. Thank you for coming. PayPal, thank you, Kermit, for posting that. It's a good job. I can't reach your chin through my phone, Russ. What is Russ being badly behaved? Mark Therosian, I was listening towards the end. Okay, well, that's good. Darklands and Russ and Mark press the like thing. Basically, thank you. Basically, thank you. Basically, we're all pawns. And even the people who are the kings and the queens are also pawns. They're pawns of us. So it is what it is. Dear Lord, our protector, our guider, the one who has created us. He's created this country. He's created this world. He's created the universe. We thank you for the life that we've lived up till now. We've had problems. We've had unbelievable pain. Unbelievable pain. Pain so much. We all have. We all have. We've had pain. But there's been a purpose. That pain has made us stronger and better. Right now we're close. We're moving closer to civil war in America and here in our home in Britain. Dear Lord, if you feel there's a purpose for us to be in a civil war with our neighbors, and it's the right thing, then we will join and we will fight with you. But if there's any way it can be avoided, dear Lord, please avoid the civil war. Please, please, please. Amen. Amen. Okay. I'll see you later, everybody. I'll see you tomorrow. See you tomorrow at 5:00. On the way, I'll see you tomorrow at 5. Everybody like the thing. Like the thing. If I've forgotten anybody's name to thank them, just write down. Say, you forgot me.